Hello 7th graders and welcome to Math Weekly number 2 where our focus skill will be box and whisker plots. Let's begin talking about box and whisker plots by defining what this type of graph is. A box and whisker plot is a graph that represents numeric data by separating it into 4 quarters. Notice, box and whisker plots can only be used for questions that result in a numeric answer. If you were to put this in your own words, you may say that it's a graph that shows a set of numeric data as 25%, 25%, 25%, and 25%. And that's what 4 quarters means. It separates it into 4 equally distributive parts. So this is the general shape of a box and whisker plot, and I'm going to outline for you what the parts are. Notice that it has a number line at the bottom of the area that you're going to place your graph. Notice that the number line is evenly spaced. In this case, it's counting by 5s. It does not have to count by 5s. It could count by 1s, 2s, 3s, 5s, 10s, whatever works best for your data. Now, besides the number line, which is not the graph itself, but just showing the value of the graph, the box and whisker plot is here. These two parts are considered the whiskers. This 25% and this 25%. This from here to here is referred to as the box. This is where we get the name box and whisker plot. Now notice there are 5 dots forming the box and the whiskers. The first dot is the minimum value in your data set. In other words, what is the smallest number that anyone or anything was represented by? So in this case, the minimum would be the value 15. This was the smallest value. The opposite is called the maximum. The maximum is the greatest value in the data set. Notice the maximum does not have to be the highest number on your number line. This may actually be, 62 or 63, but our number line goes up to 65 because it has to count consistently. The center dot, which also has a line in the center of the box, is the median, the middle number in the data set. The box in between the dot and the side of the box, which is in between the minimum and the median, is called the lower quartile. It is also referred to as the 25% mark because there's only one section, one set of 25 to the left of the lower quartile. And last, this dot here is referred to as the upper quartile or the upper quarter. It is also referred to as the 75% mark because there are 3 sections, 1, 2, 3 below it. 25, 25, and 25 makes 75%. Now, there are steps that you can use to create your own box and whisker plot, and they are as follows. First, order your numeric data from least to greatest. Identify the minimum and maximum values. Calculate the median of the data by finding the center value. Using the median to split the data in half, calculate the median of the lower half to find the lower quartile, the 25% mark. Then, using the median to split the data in half again, meaning the median that you already have, calculate the median of the upper half to find the upper quartile, the 75% mark. Draw a number line with equally spaced numbers that can hold the range of values from minimum to maximum. Place a dot at each value, the minimum, lower quartile, median, upper quartile, and maximum, and then connect the dots to form 2 whiskers, a box, and a center line. Let's practice using these steps now. So let's practice. It says Mrs. Anderson gave each of her 20 students a 10-question quiz. The list below shows the number of questions each student answered correctly. Create a box and whisker plot to represent their scores. So the first thing that we need to do is reorder this data from least to greatest. So our smallest value is 2, then we have a 3, we have 1, 2 fours, so 4 and 4. We have a 5. We have 1, 2, 3 sixes, so 1, 2, 3 sixes, and 1, 2, 3, 4 sevens. 1, 2, 3, 4 sevens. 1, 2, 3 eights, so 8, 8, 8, a 9, and 4 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the best thing to do after you reorder is count them to make sure there are 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. The next step is to identify our minimum and maximum. So our minimum is the smallest value, which we can find at the left of our list, which is 2, and the maximum is the highest value, which is 10. The reason that we like to do this is that helps us to create our number line and know which values we need to put on it. So we need from 2 to 10. I'm just going to start with 1 because it makes more sense when you're looking at it visually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We didn't need quite so long of a number line, which is fine because we can erase it. Now, the next step is to find our median. Our median is the middle number, so we can cross off to find the middle. Or we know that there's 20, so the median is going to be 10, between 10 and 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here is the middle of our data, 10 to the left and 10 to the right. This is the 50% mark. So what number would be between 7 and 7? 7. So the median is 7. Now we need to find our lower quartile, which we abbreviate LQ or Q1, by finding the middle of the lower half of the data. So we're only using from the median to the minimum. Now there are 10 values here, so the median or the middle of the lower half would be between 5 and 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that leaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what number is between 5 and 6? 5.5. So that's our lower quartile. Now we need to do the same to find our upper quartile, just using the upper half of the data. There are 10 above the median, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marks the middle. See how each section now has 5 scores. What number is between 8 and 9? 8.5. So our upper quartile is 8.5. Now to create our graph, we need a dot at each one of these markings. So 2 for the minimum, 10 for the maximum, 7 for the median. The lower quartile is 5.5, so between 5 and 6. And our upper quartile is between 8 and 9. Connect these two to make a whisker, the whiskers. Make these two into a box and create the center line of the box to represent the median. Notice each piece is 25%, so a quarter of the students score between 2 and 5.5 points. A quarter of the students score between 5.5 and 7. A quarter of the students scored between 7 and 8.5, and a quarter of the students score between 8.5 and 10. Now let's look at a few questions that require us to compare different box and whisker plots to each other. So let's practice. The box and whisker plots below show the number of stocks sold in thousands for 4 companies. Use the box and whisker plots to answer the question. So we can see at the bottom, these are the number of stocks sold, and we have 4 different companies being represented by these 4 box and whisker plots. So here's our first question. Which company has the highest median number of stocks sold? Well, we know that the median is the center line in the box and whisker plot. So all we're really comparing or honing in on are these median values. So which one of the companies has the highest median number of stocks sold? Well, we would see company C because the median is higher than the others. Let's look at another question. Which company has the least variability, the smallest range in stock sales? So range is how far it is from the maximum to the minimum. Well, you can see with company D that this is very spread out. It goes from more than 4,500 to about 500. We can see that this one is also spread out very far, but a little less so. So that this company C would be less than D. And we see that B is less spread out than C. And we can see that A is the smallest variability of all. It's from less than 2,500 to maybe about 750. So company A has the least variability because it has the smallest range. Approximately how much greater is the median number of stock sales for company C than company D? So we can cross out A and B. We're not looking at them in this problem. We're comparing C and D. So how much greater? Well, we have C, which is somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000. So let's say 2,750 since it's about in the middle, and company D is about 2,500. So if we want to know how much greater, we subtract those, so it's 250. And then we would restate our answer. Company C's median is approximately 250 greater than company D. So let's summarize what we've learned. A box and whisker plot shows or splits the data into groups of 25% using the minimum, lower quartile, median, upper quartile, and maximum. The range can be calculated by subtracting the minimum and maximum values. And this is a little new fact. I did not show you any examples of this, but you would already know this. The interquartile range can be calculated by subtracting the lower and upper quartiles. Hence interquartile, the distance between the quarters.